Assalamu alaikum. Finally back with what I had promised a while back. I'm going to finish the chapter about the omens. So if you look back on the list, you'll see it's entitled Omens. But I told you that I wasn't going to finish it because it deserved a lot more attention than I was in the mood to do. So I only did the first part, the tayra, about the flying things. If you recall, it was mainly birds that people used as bad omens, which is quite still a problem in many parts of the world. Ignorant people will look up at the sky and determine their destiny by flying birds. If the bird flies right, they go right on their journey, etc. Well, now I'm going to give it its due, so this will probably be a half hour. This chapter, and I mentioned to you previously, before when I did the quick rundown, that there is a hadith naming 4 types of shirk. So I'll read it to you again quickly, and then I'll do the 3 that remain. This is an Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا عدوى ولا تيرة ولا هامة ولا سفر. And this is in Muslim collection. So we finished the tayra. Now we're going to do the hama and the adwa and the safra. Interestingly, today is the first day of Safar, the month of Safar, and I didn't plan it that way. Allah did it. It's so awesome that yesterday was the last of Shahr Muharram, and you know that's one of the forbidden months where you're not supposed to fight or kill. Well, now we are in Safar. So let's see what Safar will bring for us and what they used to do about this. I think they kind of still are doing it too. So you be the judge when I give you the knowledge, and then you ask Allah to make you understand it. That's about all you can do, really, because the printed word is wonderful, and this book is wonderful, but how many really understand it? Those who want to understand it. Most people don't want to understand it because it cuts to the bone of the aqidah and how really ignorant we still are. Allahu ja'alna ma'a salihin. We ask Allah to let us be correct, and zidna ilman, and increase us in knowledge. So I'm not going to review the tayra. You can go back to that lesson and review it. I'm going to concentrate now on what I promised you was lethal for the pharma, big pharma, and all of those doctors that just write scripts like they're drinking a glass of water, because maybe you fear that you have been affected by a sick person, and now that you went to the hospital to visit them, you just feel woozy, and maybe someone will say to you, oh, I don't know if I'm over that terrible virus that I had, and then Shaitan whispers, and then you start thinking about what is called contagion. That's the word we use now, contagion. And we also have another phenomena called the germ theory. It became quite famous in the Enlightenment period when religion took a back seat. You see, meaning, does Allah cause everything? Yes, He is the first cause and He is the last cause. That's how the philosophers term it. But now we're going to read, not the philosophers, we're going to read the sharh of Sheikh Uthaymin of the Kitab AtTawheed by Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. And it's not scary, and don't be afraid. They tried to make you afraid by forbidding this book from all the Arab countries. But now the gig is up and everybody wants to read it. And mainly myself, because I've been loving this ever since I knew it was extant. Because I never could understand when I was young in the Catholic school, the nuns would teach us about Mother Damien, and she would go to the leper colony. Or was it Brother Damien? It was either a priest or a nun. I remember the name, though, because my great auntie took that name when she went into the convent. She took the name Damien, Mother Damien. And it had to do with, they told us to use a patron saint, and our patron saint was going to protect us. You see, it's all in the pot of shirk that the Catholics use as their aqidah. Yes, it's their aqidah. Not only is it just 3 in 1, no, it's human powers. That's big with the Catholics too. So let's see exactly now, what is this contagion? And we'll read it from the words of the Prophet Muhammad, who clearly said, La adwa. There is none. Well, many scholars have differed and said, yes, of course there is. We know that the first cause is Allah, who brings forward good and allows evil to come forward. It's all by his, you can say, Mashiach, his ilm, and then he allows it. Whose side are you on? Do you believe that there is contagion? Do you believe in the germ theory? Well, before you give an exact answer, let's see what the great scholars have said. First, let's use the verse from the Quran. أَإِن ذُكِرْتُمْ بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ مُسْرِفُونَ. What is this, if you can remind yourself? ذُكِرْتُمْ. Well, he says, يَبْغِي أَن تَقَفَ عَلَيْهِ, on this verse. لأنها جملة شرطية وجواب الشرط محذوف. So this is a conditional sentence, and the rest is removed. إن ذكرتم تطيرتم. So he is explaining this to you. على هذا فلا تصلح بما بعدها. You have to know, if you want to understand, what comes after it. بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. Remind yourself that you are people who go over the limits. You are musrifun. So you remind yourself that when you're trying to figure out what's going on in this case, bel means on the contrary. Huna li'idrab al-ibtal. Giving you an example, al-ibtal ay ma asabakum laysa minhum. Bel huwa min asrafikum. Meaning, this is what you have brought forward by your wrong behavior. Ay, meaning again, mutajawizuna lil had. You go over the limits. Alladhi yajib an takunu alayh. Well, maybe you're saying, what limits? How? Now we're going to get into the real lub of the Mawdu'a, the essence of, do we blame ourselves for anything that's happened to us? Do we know that it's Allah has decreed it for us before we were born? That's basic. The whole qadar thing is the basic thing. But do we have anything to do with this? By what we do? Yes, because Allah knew before we were born what we were going to do. So you see, there's 2 spheres here in the realm of this fate subject, qadar. There's our on earth, aware in our consciousness sphere, which is, of course, limited. And then there is Allah's sphere, encompassing every single breath we take and every single happening in the universe from its beginning to its end. That preface should help you as we get into the germ theory and the contagion and the hadith of Prophet Muhammad. Qawluhu sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his words, la adwa, is a general statement. Nafiyat li jins. So it's negating a specific jins, meaning an overall terminology for overall awareness. ونفي الجنس أعم من نفي الواحد أو اثنين أو ثلاثة. So this word jins and negating it is much broader than you're just discussing one thing or 2 things or 3 things. لأنه نفي للجنس كله. It's negating everything. So let's go back. لا عدوى. no contagion. فنفي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم العدوى كله. Oh, والعدوى. What is عدوى? It is الانتقال المرض من مريض إلى صحيح. It means having the sick person give to the healthy person the germ or the whatever is causing him contagion. وكما يكون في الأمراض الحسية يكون أيضا في الأمراض المعنوي الخلقي. It's not just a sickness as in, oh, I have measles, I have mumps, I have whooping cough. Those are the things they vaccinated us against with their poison long ago. It's not just that. It has to do with hissi, oh, I see red spots, or ma'nawi. It could be a psychological feeling that you have been affected negatively by being next to someone. Remember I talked about Father Damien I didn't tell you. It's in Hawaii he went to on the island of Molokai because 200 years ago they would send the lepers there. We're going to get to lepers here. It's in this hadith also. The lepers would be shipped off to die on an island away from everyone because of their contagion. Well, the nuns taught us that Father Damien wasn't afraid. Was it Father Damien or Mother Damien? You can look that up in Google. The whole story's there. Who fearlessly lived among them, ate with them, and never feared them, loved them, hugged them, bathed them. So, little Catholic girl affected by the nuns, I was just amazed, and I believed every single bit of it. Because why not? This was we believed in holy people. They call them saints. And of course, she became a saint, canonized by the Pope in Rome after this story. I believed in it totally. So you can say when I came across this controversial subject amongst the Muslims in Cairo, there were those who totally disbelieved in it and those who totally believed in it. So those who totally disbelieved in Adwa were the educated, the doctors, the lawyers, the engineers, international schools, scoffed at the religious people who believed. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad said so, that there is no Adwa. Okay? So this was very controversial when I lived there, and I was privileged to know a woman who explained it perfectly. She was a wonderful woman, a wonderful scholar. Yes, a woman scholar, one of the very few. I don't want to say names, but she would come right up against Al-Azhar and tell them, no, let's not, let's be nice. Let's be nice. But I lived through this. So there's a lot of knowledge that's kept hidden from the general populace. It's also here as well, of course. Got to get those masks on pretty soon, right? Be nice. I am trying to suffocate. Let's use the word control my Irish genes. Okay? Let's be nice. Be gentle. Prophet Muhammad was gentle. So I have to keep reminding myself what the Sheikh said. Yes, people have proclivities. It's called irq dissas. It is not a hadith. It's a saying with the Arabs that your blood flow in your body is constantly pressing on you. You cannot avoid it. Al-irq, your arteries and your veins. Dissas means yudussu, pressing on you. It's like your bloodline is there. So I asked the sheikh, the poor shiuk who crossed my path, I used to ask them things that nobody would even think because of the culture. The culture is so overwhelmingly present all the time. They're taught not to question anything. I mean, we were taught not to question our parents. But no, anything, just read the book, memorize it, it's over. So I remember saying to him, what is this irq dissas? And he would say, I said, is it real? And the sheikh answered and said, well, to a limited extent, it's real, yes. There is something to do with what we call genetics. But he said, take care, because this is something that can be relieved, fixed, bettered by following the sunnah. So if you know that you have a particular characteristic that probably isn't correct, goes against the sunnah, you can polish it up by learning the sunnah and following it. So in my case, if I tend to be, I don't know what I'd call myself. I don't fight. I've never hit anybody. I don't want to be a punk. You know, we had girls in my day that would have street fights, the Italian girls, always. Did I have one once? Yes, with Louise Lizio. I'll never forget it. Oh, I'm not going to talk about it. We were screaming at each other from across the street. And then we had a face-off. Now, mind you, I'm from Morningside. I'm from the rich part of town. But I was Irish, you see. So I should make videos of this on my other channel, not on my religious channel that is not monetized. People are bugging me to make another channel and monetize it and tell all of the tales from the days back in the day, which were so... It was another time, another place. It was amazing. Back in the 50s, 60s. Anyway, let's get on to the words of the Prophet Muhammad, which are more useful. So we just said that this la adwa, it can be hissi or manawi. So you can actually feel that you're sick, or you can have, you could say they call it psychosomatic illness, that you believe you're sick. Either way, let's read the hadith, the Quran verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن يكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم. This verse says it is not right for a believer, if Allah has decreed something, and Prophet Muhammad has backed it up, as you know, with his hadith, to believe or to say that they have a choice in the matter. Wait, stop now. Remember I said the two spheres? So our sphere down here is free will? Yeah, free will. Nobody said you can't do what you want to do and choose what you want to do, but does it go against Prophet Muhammad? So now let's think about what the hadith taught us. The hadith completes the verses of the Quran. So if something happened to you that you hate, really hate, and reject, and totally feel is wrong, in this sphere, down here, where you live, you can deny and you can refuse to do it. But you should take care, and you should know your religion. Because if it's in the Quran, and it happens to you, you're best to say, Sami'ana wa ata'ana. Hear and obey. Don't be like the Yahud now. The Yahud said, Sami'na wa asayna. They said, we hear, we're going to disobey. So I actually had to live through a large test regarding this, which I'm not going to go into detail here. But that's what you're supposed to do. He's giving you here an example. Al-ikhtiyar, the free choice. أي أن يختاروا خلاف ما قضى الله ورسوله من الأمر. So he's explaining the verse by saying this reference to have a choice, if it's different from what Allah decreed in His Rasul. This is the ikhtiyar that you don't want. You don't want to be in that side that chose what Allah does not love. Now, we're going to give you, the next one is something called tasha'im, means pessimism. Wala ham. Hama is part of the first part. La adwa, wala tayra, wala hama, wala safar. So we're getting back now to what is the hama. The hama, بتخفيف الميم, فسرت بتفسيرين. We have two explanations, two tafsirs about this. The first one is really, yes, the owl. الأول أنها طيرة معروفة يشبه البومة. He's saying that the flying bird is similar to the owl. أو هي بومة, not just similar to, but it is the owl. تزعم العرب أنه إذا قتل القتيل صارت عظامه حامة تطير وتصرف حتى يؤخذ بثأره. If someone's killed and they know who killed him, they do tha'ar. Tha'ar means revenge killing. This is so disturbing. I mean, I know of places where this happens in the Middle East. It's real. Yes, it does happen. And you might have heard some YouTube gruesome videos of this happening regarding marriage, where a girl would not obey her father and she'd go hang out with some guy, or maybe she'd marry him. And then, unfortunately, the Middle Eastern dad would kill, sometimes both of them. It's real. Okay? So now, يُخَذُ بِثَأْرِهِ, they would take revenge. رُبَّمَا اتَّقَدَ بَعْضُهُمْ أَنَّهَا روحه. So they would even kill other people that were connected. Rojo, they would, well, we have this in Appalachia still. Families kill other members of families if they harmed one of their tribe. You can call it tribe. Just unbelievable. The next tafsir ثانية, أن بعض العرب يقولون الهامة هي طير والمعروف. Some of them say it has to be flying. لكنهم يتشاؤمون بها. They're pessimistic on this subject. فإذا وقعت على بيت أحدهم ونعقت, if an owl landed on one of their homes, قالوا إنها تنعق به ليموت. This was a sign that someone in that house was going to die. Imagine. ويعتقدون أن هذا دليل قرب أجله. It points to his numbers up. قرب أجله. He's going to die. وهذا كله بلا شك عقيدة باطل. It is no doubt totally false. Now let's come to ولا سفر, this month that has just begun. قيل إنه شهر سفر, the month of سفر. كانت العرب يتشاءمون به ولا سيما في نكاح. This month has prohibitions, and one of them is marriage. Imagine this, now you can't get married in this month. I mean, these things are so harmful, and they continue because no one speaks against them. And you wonder why. Wonder why they don't want anyone to be enlightened. Well, وقيل أنه داء في بطن. They say that this also can mean a sickness in your stomach. داء في بطني يصيب الإبل. It happens to camels. وننتقل من الكامل, one to the other, and then to us. وهذا فيكون العطف على العدوى من باب العطف الخاصة على العام. They're saying that this reasoning or this explanation has to do with something specific, which is according to the general concept. الخاص, specific, على العام, meaning this atf refers to the عدوى. So if the camel got sick and one camel gives it to another camel, they use this to mean, and if you're around camels, you can get it. وقيل أنه نهي عن النسبية وكانوا في جاهلية. They're saying that this is a very ignorant belief. In the days of Jahiliyyah, فإذا أرادوا القتال في شهر الحرم, if this happens and they feel they want to kill someone because of it, استحلوا. If it's in the month of Safar and they know they're not supposed to do it, they will make it halal. Because that's what they used to do, and that's what they still do now in other regards, which I will get on to later. وهذه نسية التي ذكرها الله بقوله تعالى, and here's the verse of Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Surah Tawbah. وَيُهِلُّ مَا حَرَمَ اللَّهُ. Do you make lawful that which Allah has made unlawful? That's in the Quran. And then he gets back to the siyak at-tatayr. He's going to start talking about the birds again, but I don't really think we have time for more birds. I think we're going to get on to the Adwa again. Now, قَوْلُهُ لَا عَدْوَى. Al-Adwa mawjuda. Now here is where the real discussion comes with the two classes in Egypt. The educated, who are of course international schools, doctors, lawyers, engineers, and then what they call the extremists, the people that just go by Quran. Now pay attention here because this is really important. Al-Adwa mawjuda. يدل لوجودها قول. They're saying contagion is real, and here is how we prove it. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam لا يدو ممرد على مسح. Well, what do you mean that's how we prove it? These are the words of Allah that says no sick person is able to bring his sickness to the healthy person. Let's go down. This is from the collection of Muslim. But, wait. We have another opinion here. قوله فر من الجذوم فرارك من الأسد. Another hadith of Prophet Muhammad in Ahmad's collection, where he said, run from the leper like you run from a lion. Oh, is that hadith sahih? Yes. So how do you square the circle here? How do you make this make sense? المجزوم مرضى خبيثة معدة بسرعة ويتلفى صاحبه. He's saying here that leprosy can spread very quickly. Others say it's ta'un. A ta'un is like a, like cholera or typhus or something like a plague. That's the ta'un. فالأمر بفرار من المجذوم كي لا تقع العدوى منه. So they're saying, how can you explain this then? If there's no contagion, why did Prophet Muhammad say, run away? وَفِيهِ إِثْبَاتٌ لِتَأْثِيرِ الْعَدْوَى. They use this as a proof that there is contagion. لكن تأثيرها ليس أمرا حتما. Hatman means that this is not absolute. It is not amran hatman. بحيث يكون إلا فاعله. So there are conditions that this has to be considered in. وأمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الفرار. Prophet Muhammad ordered us to run. وأن لا يرد ممرد على مسح, because of this other saying that no one sick can give it to someone else. من باب تجنب الأسباب. So he's saying this just means stay away because the asbab is that you might catch it. So stay away. لا من باب تأثير الأسباب بنفسها. Not that this is going to occur automatically. فالأسباب لا تؤثر. He's saying this asbab, this reason for the sickness, cannot in and of itself be effective بنفسها. لكن ينبغي لنا أن نتجنب الأسباب التي تكون سببا للبلاء. So he's saying, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to stay away so that we don't get bala. Bala means a huge problem in our lives. Because of this verse in the Quran, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى تَحْلُكَ. Don't throw yourselves into a big problem with your own hands. He uses this, but I have a sheikh who said that this verse doesn't mean that. He said this verse means, I remember everything from the sheikh, you're throwing yourselves into destruction by your own hands by not giving charity. That's his tafsir of it. And that's in Surah Baqarah. And then he says, وَلَا يُمْكِنْ أن يقال إن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم ينكر تأثير العدوى. He said, absolutely it doesn't mean that the Prophet Muhammad denied contagion. لأن هذا أمر يبطله الواقع والأحاديث أخرى. He's going to give you see, the way this book is structured, honestly, I love Sheikh Uthaymeen, but he's all over the place. He jumps from one thing to another, back to the other, to a third, then reverses back. That's just, alhamdulillah. لا يرحمه. فإن قيل إن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لما قال لا عدوى قال رجل يا رسول الله الإبل تكون صحيحة مثل الضبعاء فيدخلها الجمل الأجرب فتجرب فقال النبي فمن أدى الأول. Okay, so now this one, فمن أدى الأولى. This is one of the all-encompassing, you can say, last word on this issue. It's so concise, and what are you going to do? I mean, after this, you're not going to do anything. You're either going to take the position that you believe in it or you don't believe in it. That's what I say. So let's go back. He's saying, فَإِن قِيلَ. I'm not going to read it now again. I'm just going to translate it for you. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا عدوى. There is no contagion. قال الرجل. So one man said, يا رسول الله الإبلة تكون صحيحة. One camel was healthy and fine and nothing wrong with him. فيدخلها الجمل الأجرب. And suddenly came next to him a scraggly camel filled with jarab. It's like a skin disease. فَتَجَرَب. So will the first camel get this jarab? فَقَالَ النَّبِي. Prophet Muhammad said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, فَمَنْ عَدَى الْأُولَى. Now we're getting back to the pure Tawheed. Prophet Muhammad said, so who caused the first camel to be ajrab? Where did that come from? Well, the answer obviously is Allah decreed that he would get this disease. فكذلك إذا النقل بالعدوى فقد انتقل بأمر الله. The answer is, by Allah's decree, is how he got the first sickness. والشيء يكون له سبب معلوم وقد لا يكون له سبب معلوم. فجرب الأول ليس سببي معلوم إلا أنه بتقدير الله. So the first instance, we cannot know what it was other than to say Amrullah. And that is the best way to end this discussion, because that is the fact that we know that any insan يعتدى على الله ويتوكل عليه يعتمد على الله وتوكل عليه قد روى عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم جاء الرجل المجذوم فأخذ بيده. So he's giving us the fact that if you depend on Allah alone, that's all you need. Because one time there was a majzoom, a leper, فأخذ بيده, and Prophet Muhammad took him by his hand and قال له كل من طعام الذي كان يأكل منه الرسول. He said, have some food that the Prophet Muhammad had eaten, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. لقوة تؤكل sallallahu alayhi wasallam. فهذا توكل مقاوم لها سبب العدوى. You see, this is all based on faith. This is, are you going to eat food that the Rasul was eating and then a leper ate it? Is that going to bother you? Now we get back to Father Damien. It had to be a man. A woman wouldn't be on that island alone. So it had to be a man. Look up this thing about Molokai. The name of the island in Hawaii, Molokai, Molokai. And the story of this particular leper. Well, lepers, when this priest went and stayed with him for like 50 years and died healthy, and he didn't die of leprosy. And of course, many people said it's not real, it's a Catholic Church lie, but I believed it, although I didn't believe much else from them. Okay, so the rest is pretty much involving more about La Adwa, but nothing new that we don't already know. So now let's go to the Safar, the forbidden month, which we are in right now. And he's saying there is ثلاث الأقوال سبقت وبين الراجع منه. Now he's going to tell you 3 types of explanations for this month and explain it. The Safar. Perhaps I might make another video on this one. Yeah, I think I'm going to close this one now because it's almost 40 minutes. And then I'm going to do the last 2, the Safar and the Naw. The sacred month, which they changed it. They flipped it. It's supposed to be Muharram, and they'd make it Safar. And then the Naw has to do with the planets. And they're, it's like astrology. So, and then we're done. And then we're done with this chapter. So let's just... I think it's better if I make part 2. Then maybe you can go and drink coffee or something like that, which is what I was going to do. Now it's cold. All for you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.